welcome back to the channel, guys. Oh boy, we've got something in store for you guys, as you just saw. But Legarm's got new jeans.
Yeah, you like them?
And there's a new big butt in the background.
So wait, Nick, if there's a big bud here, how many big buds do we have on our farm?
4.5, because Big Brute's sort of a bud.
Oh, good. I love it.
You can bend your thumb in. So this is another big bud. And yes, it's now ours. And why do we have another big bud? Well, because...
Why not? That's the question, right?
Yes. It just makes so much sense to have another big bud.
But Nick, this bud's missing an engine, transmission, hydraulics. What else is it missing?
Well, we can go over that. It's a little empty,
yeah,
but it has a lot of potential, and the price was right.
Yeah.
And the only thing that it really takes now is a lot of time.
And lots of planning.
A whole winter. A whole winter working on it. No, this isn't the Wagner. I know you guys want the Wagner. I really do. I know you want the Wagner. But the Wagner, unfortunately, is not a big enough tractor to make it worth putting time in on this farm to use on the farm. And right now, with acres expanding, farm growing, things happening, it worked out. We could get another tractor, and we need another tractor.
So we were kind of talking about it when the Series 3 bearings went out on the axle, and if the other bud goes out and it's in the beginning of spring, what do we do? Because that little bud that we have is not heavy enough, and it overheats because it's not powerful enough. The radiator needs to be changed, the engine needs to be changed. Yeah. It's at its max. So what do? We'd have to rent a tractor. Yeah. Well, otherwise, you find a tractor. Well, to get into the high horsepower to do what we need to do, we don't really have the finances to make that happen. So
not with these years.
We decided, what if, now just bear with me, what if we got another big bud and we put a lot of time and use components into it and make it a pretty sweet fun
tractor.
So
let's show it off. Here it is.
This is a 1977 big bud. This is a Series 2 frame, but it's got the old style hood and cab. It came with a KT 450 Cummins. We're going to put another one back into it, but it's going to be a little different.
Yeah, a lot different. Yeah. So really, this is the same frame as our Series 2, that tractor we really love. It doesn't have a drop or a transmission that drops the power down. Instead, it's got the divider box, or you could say chain case, and that takes the power and distributes it to the front and rear axle. Look at that fat chain in there. Isn't that crazy? We love them because they're so simple. They're just really easy to work on, and it's just been a very stout tractor for us. And so this one was a friend of ours, and he had it for sale, and the price was just right. And he's like, I'm never gonna get a chance to fix that big butt up. So we were like, well, yeah. So then one day in the office, Legarms was cruising around on the internet, happened to find a smoking deal on some KTTA Cummins engines. 2 of them set at 675 horsepower, twin turboed, but
one of them we know is set at 700.
Yeah, one of them is the one that's going to go in this tractor set at 700 horsepower. And the price was just awesome. They were out of some old rock trucks in a mine that went under, and they had fresh rebuilds from Cummins not too long ago, and they were test ran and didn't smoke and started right up, and so it just was kind of a no-brainer.
But here's the deal. We had to take the two. We could either buy one motor or we buy both, but we had to take the transmissions with them.
Oh, yes. Look at that fat thing. This is an Allison 6000 series power shift 6-speed transmission.
This transmission can take up to about 1,000 horsepower or more, depending on what you want to do.
So why aren't we doing 1,000 horsepower?
That's a very good point. We got 2 engines. We can make a dual engine big bud.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
We'll make it happen.
We are going to mount this thing directly up to the engine. As you can tell in the front, there's a drive line here, okay? The engine went here, drive line this. We're taking this off, we're mounting the engine directly to here.
So bell housing, this cover off bell housing will attach right to the transmission right there, which will shorten up, because real estate with this big old thing is going to be tight.
So here's one of the benefits about having a transmission like this. We won't have a problem trying to find hydraulic flow, because the problem with the KT engines that we have now is we can't get enough hydraulics to really run what we need to do. It's at its max on the front of the engine. This has a PTO on the top And it also has a P2 on the bottom.
Yep.
So you can stack.
And this is an adapter that lets you put a pump here and here. So you can have a pump, if you wanted to.
On top. The only problem with this transmission is it's a little longer than the Eaton Fuller 13-speed that came out of the tractor. So we're gonna have to do some mods to make this thing fit.
Yeah, it's big, it's heavy, and it is a brute. But the funny thing is, that is not the one that's going in this tractor. Because we got two of them. Because that smoke and deal that he found, had two of these Allison 6000s and two TTA Cummins twin turbo set at, well, one for sure 700 horsepower. We haven't had the numbers checked on the second one yet, but it's probably the same.
So should we tell them how much we got the smoking good deal for?
Yeah, how much?
Okay, what do you guys think? About 1,500 hours on the engine, roughly, after rebuild is what they figured.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think that's worth? A KTTA, probably close to 30 at least.
30,000, yeah.
Okay.
30. So if, four of them.
Yeah, so it's a big chunk of money. So we got 2 engines and 2 transmissions for 30 grand.
Which is hard to do.
It's 14,000 per engine, and then they said $1,000 per transmission. So
yeah, thanks guys. I know you're gonna watch this. We appreciate the deal. Yeah. So this is a brake system that's coming off. It's just a parking brake. This will all get redone. We got to redo all the mounts. But that big old fat monstrosity there, which is going to be a push button. You could put a lever in too, but it'll probably be a push button shift, just a typical Allison shift box, drive, neutral, reverse, and then you can one up all the way up down to 6 and I think 2 in reverse, 3 in reverse.
This one either has 2 reverse or it's 1 reverse gear.
2 or 1. So I mean, there's a lot of unknowns, like how fast are those gears going to go? Well, it also depends on another thing. What tires are you going to put on this? Because these tires are, well, they're not bad. Got a little bit of rubber on them still. I mean, where's the one at? There it is. This is my favorite. Look at this one. So, well, these are 30.5 32s, and that's what typical most buds came with. And we were thinking, it would just be pretty cool if you could just put a little bit bigger tire under there. So that's what we're gonna do. Real quick, no step here, we're gonna have to make that. No ladders, we're gonna have to make ladders. No railing, gonna have to make railing. The cab, the entire interior, I'd climb up there, but it's way up there and I can't jump that high. It's gotta be 100% gutted and rebuilt. There's no way it's gonna work. And then the hood, there's gonna have to be some mods with this thing because to get this all to fit, we're not long enough. So this hood's gonna go to right to the face here, and we're gonna lengthen it out and pull the whole engine forward, and that'll give us enough room for the transmission to fit in here. This tractor originated, well, first in Montana when it was manufactured, but it spent its life down in California, I think the Bakersfield area, and it looks like it says Welker Farms, Northwood, California. So I'm sure this thing saw some deep ripping for some orchards and whatnot, and it was bought and brought back here. And that's why the rust on it is just surface rust. There's no like severe, structural rust because, well, in that part of California, it's kind of like up here. They don't get rain and stuff doesn't rust. So it's in great shape. Let's see, so I think, yeah, this is the engine right here.
Hey Nick.
Yeah.
Nick, no, we're here.
Oh yeah, there. There's the engine. There's 2 engines. Look at all that iron. So this engine basically is the same block, same head, same oil pan, really almost identical, same engine like that one over there, that old KT block there, and the engines that are in those 2 buds back there.
It's actually a different oil pan.
Oh, it is a different oil pan.
It's got a weird...
Oh, so it's a different oil pan. But the thing this one is, with the twin turbos, it's got an updated fuel injection pump. The fuel system's a little different on it. It probably has maybe some different pistons in it that lets it go to that higher horsepower. But this engine here can go 600 to 800 horsepower, probably no problem.
And as the serial number shows, this was rebuilt in 2012, I believe it said, and it's set at 700 horsepower. So, could be good.
Yeah, she's a monster. So, here's our Series 2. Think of this as being basically the same exact thing as within the shop right now. The other shop, just hood's different and the cab's different shape, okay? Now, look at this. And just picture this with that. What do you think? This, there. 4 of them. Think we can get it? LSW 1400s around the whole thing from Titan Tires?
Well, Nick, there's only one way we can find out.
We're gonna rob a tire from a combine.
Yeah.
Because we ran some measurements, and it is gonna be tight, really tight, but it would just basically barely fit under the fenders. And if we can make it fit, world's largest tires under a Series 2 Big Bud would just be awesome. So that's what we're gonna do right now. Let's get started. We gotta get these tires figured out so we can figure out if we need to get them ordered or not. So we're gonna take this one off, wheel it over there, put it up next to the Bud, see if we can fit it under the wheel well. We know already we're gonna have some tight spots that are gonna have to be modified. There's gonna definitely be some modifying, but this will give us an idea of how much modifying we need to do. And we have a tire, it's right there, so we might as well get it over there. So
It's the mock-up
his
tire.
idea. We'll go. Like a little baby wheel next to you. You used to think that these 30.5 32s were like the biggest tire in the world. That was the biggest tire in our... They're not very big. I think they're barely 6 feet tall.
Did you get it? Oh. Isn't that nuts? So, to give you an idea, this is about up to my nose. And I've got a big nose. Just the rim alone right now is up to my nose. That's nuts. Looks big in here though. This is where we're going to try to push that tire in and see if we can get it to fit. It's going to be tight. Oh, it's going to be tight. We'll see. We'll see if we can make it happen. I think we can, though. I think. Hi, Kobe.
Well, things are light when you don't have an engine and a transmission and a radiator and full of fluids.
And leg arm's on inside.
Yeah, he's not on it either, and he didn't eat breakfast either, so. All right, I think we got it up tall enough. We're just gonna see if we can shimmy this thing underneath there. I think if our measurements were correct, it's gonna be like, oof, tight. I don't think it's gonna quite fit, we'll see. But our hope is that if it works out, we won't have to modify the front fenders, but the back fenders we definitely are going to have to.
Can you see anything, Nick? I can see the hub. I mean, so far you look okay on this side. It's tight. It is tight. Right? Yeah, you're good on this side.
It's hitting on this side, but it's going.
I mean, you're starting to hit on this side, Nick. You're pushing the rubber into this side. Is it hitting on that side too?
Yeah, you can go over here and look. It's starting to push.
Yeah. It's not going to fit in there. I don't know if we can do the 1400 LSWs.
Look at the bump.
Yeah. Oh, that would be sweet though.
All right, well, we got the tire, we mocked it up, and just judging from how tight it is, this lip right here, it would have fit, but this little lip that hangs over, about an inch, that's stopped it, but that's too tight anyways. We need to have a little bit of room around those wheels. So we're thinking what we're gonna have to do is add some space under here, which means we're gonna take the axle and drill new holes and put a 2-inch plate underneath, so it'll drop the axle down, move it forward 1.5 inches, then this front fender, we'll slice this up a bunch, pull this out 3 inches, and then that way we'll add 1.5 inches around the whole diameter, so we should be able to fit. And these back axles we don't have to move, We just have to space down and then flare the back and the front out a little bit. So it's going to be not very much work.
Good morning, everybody. I got a call this morning. The place that is working on our transmission, we took a transmission, one of the 6000 series Allisons, to them, and we have to have a flywheel converted into it so that we can bolt that thing directly up to our K19 1150 Cummins motor. And he finished doing that, and he's ready to stick it on a test stand, and he's going to shift through all the gears and make sure that thing works the way it should, make sure the clutch packs, the torque converter, and if it all works out just fine and he's happy with it, then we can put that in the tractor. Because it would be a shame if we put one of these transmissions in the tractor, 2 minutes later realize we got to pull that transmission out and get it rebuilt or put the other one in. And so yeah, we don't want to do that. But he's a pretty cool guy over in Welker, Montana. Al's Diesel does a lot of stuff, and he's got a lot of parts. Oh, a lot of parts. Love it. I love it. So anyways, I'm gonna take you guys along for the spin, and we're gonna go see this transmission run. I think it'll be pretty fun. So the tractor originally, like about 12 miles an hour is what that tractor would go. No, actually this would be about 14, 15 on this one. But that's with an Eaton Fuller 13 speed. So we'll see. But granted, this thing's probably gonna have some pretty big tires on it, so it's gonna go, it'll make up the difference. There's parts everywhere. I love this place. Like for example, look at that V, I think it's a V12. I got 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's cute. I love it. Oh, this guy's got so many fun tools. I love it. Makes me giddy in here. Anyways, transmission works. That's a good thing. Now, one thing that's really going to be helpful is this guy's got a book here that has a schematic on the wiring harness, because that's electronic controlled transmission. I've got a brain box here. They call them ECU or well, there's a bunch of terms for them. So anyways, I don't know what they call it exactly, but as you can tell, the wires are just cut off. That's how we got it. So I got to take the shift unit, all those wires in the back, and I've got to figure out what connector goes where and get the pin location and make a new harness so that this tractor can have the shift unit inside the cab. But here's the old pins, connectors. You can see all the harnesses and wirings and stuff like that. See, the problem is, yeah, there's a bunch of different colors in here, but they might use, like right here, I see that they have 1, 2, 3, 4 green colored wires that don't have any numbers on them. That's not striped or anything like that. You don't know which one goes where. And so I need to know exactly where that pin goes so I can make that harness work. And luckily for me, this guy's got a book here that shows the schematic so that you can show, like for example, you got 1R, what's a 1R right here? Okay, so that there's just a plug one, it's not being used, but you have your solenoids, you got, like for shifting solenoids, you got your temperature, low pressure, high, lockup, all that kind of stuff. So I'm pretty excited that he's got it here. So we'll print this off, and then I can sit there in the shop and go blind while I do wires. So yeah, that's gonna be fun. So basically with this transmission, in order for us to bolt it up to the engine, we had to remove this flywheel here that bolts up to this cover, because it originally was set up as a engine drive line into the transmission, but we want to go directly to the engine, so it's going to bolt to it. And the reason why is if we keep that drive line in between, that engine's going to be sticking out of the tractor in the front, and we don't want that. We want to try to make it as tight as possible. So we had a flywheel that he mounted on there. The bearing he said in the front was not looking very good. He put a new bearing, new seals in it, sitting over there running, and I think we're pretty much good to go. But yeah, he says it looks pretty promising. I'm pretty excited about it. That's awesome. Let's go back over here and take a look at this engine that's powering this transmission. So he was telling me that for whatever reason the automatic shifting was not working on here, and he didn't plug my brain box or my ECU in here. He's using one that he has, and it's possible that the one that's in here isn't able to really do that. It's not able to connect with it. So he's going to change it out, play with it, make sure it's all working just fine, and then he'll probably try the other ECU to make sure that's working fine. So I know I have 2 good ones. But yeah, isn't that cool? Using this old engine. I love it. It's awesome. That's so cool. Just like an automatic truck, same thing.
It's like grinding your holding a trailer up the hill until you power out or until you pull over the hill.
Well, I'm really glad we're putting this transmission in because I like it already.
It's slick, right? So we'll go back up and I'm going to go all the way up, all right? Okay.